Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Tuesday, the 20th day of May, 2025. It is Tuesday of the fifth week of Easter, the 31st day of the Easter season. I'm trying to remember what it is. So Tuesday of the fifth week of Easter, the 31st day of the Easter season, is also on the Franciscan calendar the feast of St. Bernadine of Siena, for whom we name the upper school of our school, the Franciscan school, after. Most people think it's Catherine of Siena, but actually it is Bernadine, somebody who was perhaps not as nice as Catherine of Siena was. He had an attitude. He did not treat women very well, but he did begin a devotion to the holy name of Jesus, which is why the former province of Holy Name of Jesus took on that name and allowed that name to kind of become the essence of who my former province was. So with Franciscans around the world, remember again his preaching, which tried to stir hearts. You know, he lived during the 1500s, again, which was a very dicey time for faith and practices of faith and things like that. And so he probably had to take a hard line to some things because things were not always as good as they could have been, the way that we live our lives as believers. And so his day today, it's an optional memorial on the universal calendar, but again, for Franciscans, it is a feast. He is also known as one of the pillars of the observant movement. So as the order began to split into the conventual and to the observant branches, because we could not agree on poverty, it was Bernadine of Siena who was one of the ones who was trying to maintain the understanding of poverty and allowing Franciscans to live it. It worked, unfortunately, to become more divisive, and we split into the conventual and the observant branches of the order. But we still remember him and what he tried to do and how he tried to, again, give us an idea of what it means to live this life as best as we can as Franciscans, but also as believers. So our readings for today, again, another itinerary of Paul and Barnabas going all over the place. It begins with an interesting kind of incident in which Paul is stoned by some group of people and left for dead. And when his followers gather around him, he basically comes back to life, and he goes back into the city that tried to stone him, or did stone him and left him for dead, to continue preaching. Again, there's a resiliency always to Paul, a lot of surprises also to Paul. But a list of cities, again, is given. The rapid pace at which the gospel takes root within these cities of the Eastern Mediterranean is astounding, because again, they are speaking something that no one has yet listened to, no one has heard before. So with that, there is this sense, of this newness and a new way of life, a new way of understanding our lives in relationship to God that seems to be attractive. And even those, again, who worshipped many gods are finding in the proclamation of a risen Lord, crucified and risen Lord, something that is much more powerful than any of the other myths that they had been raised with. So again, the continuing growth. And again, Paul says, though, it is not easy, and that there are many hardships, that you experience in embracing this faith, which is true. There are, but again, the good and the blessings and the hope, outweigh any of the hardships that we might experience, because what we are experiencing is right, is true, and is for us, a way to the fullness of our lives as human beings, especially. In John's Gospel, Jesus, again, in these Last Supper speeches, talks about peace and wishing peace upon his followers, and peace not as the world gives it, but only as God can give it. And that is important to remember. Again, peace, we think, is having no troubles and no concerns and just basically, floating around on a cloud, it seems, or something like that. But that's not really what peace is, because you cannot avoid, it's like the ups and downs of life. It's hardships and what have you. And so to have that kind of peace that only God can give is a peace that rests assured, again, that God knows what God is doing. And that God has more power over all of the problems that we experience, that this world experiences, than we ever could, and that we could ever find solutions to. Again, to be able to listen to a God who preaches that kind of peace is something maybe that might offer us, a way to be resilient, a way to be more forthright and authentic in what it means to be a believer in this world. We're not seeking ever to escape the world. We're not seeking to hide from the world. We are seeking basically to find our way through it, and in it to see where the presence and the wonder and beauty of God is. A wonderful message for this Easter season. And so a blessed continuation of this Easter season, St. Francis, and people of God, may the Lord give you his peace.